How's everybody doing? This is Ruben once again with Ulosophy. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you liked any of my past videos, please subscribe to the channel, like or comment on the video. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, make sure to visit our blog, our Instagram, our Twitter. We add great and powerful information there on a regular basis, so make sure you check that out. Today I want to talk about when you're focusing on your dream and you're in the sweet spot, the first thing you attract is what? It's like-minded thoughts. When you're in the when you're focusing on your dream and you're in the sweet spot, what is the sweet spot? When the dream is big enough that you're excited about, but it's small enough that you believe in it, that's the sweet spot. When your dream is in that sweet spot, the first thing you attract is like-minded thoughts. So before you see the signs, before you see the opportunities, the circumstances, the people that will bring you closer to your dream, the first thing you will attract is like-minded thoughts. Thoughts that are like-minded towards that dream. So that's very important. The second thing you attract is circumstances, people, events, and situations that bring you closer to what you want. Circumstances, maybe you driving down and you see a line, and that line is a line full of people begging for something that you can offer, right? That's your dream. People, maybe you meet someone that has a connection to something that can bring you closer to bringing that whatever your dream is out, right? Events and situations, same thing. You see a sign on the billboard or something, whatever it is, you'll start attracting that. The third thing you attract is finally the specific goal that you were focusing on, or something that brings you closer to the feeling you were emitting. So it's either that thing, the specific thing you had in your dream, or something that simulates, may not simulate to exactly what it is, but it gives you the same feelings. For example, I heard a story of a guy who who really wanted to feel powerful. He wanted to feel powerful, and he wanted to be empowered, and he wanted to feel like he was in control of things. So he thought that by actually getting a certain things, like maybe a watch, a certain car, people will see that, and he would be looked upon, right? And he would have how can I say it, sort of a little bit of influence on people. Well, it didn't turn out that way. Instead, he got into politics. And that person now feels really in control and has power and has the ability to help people, and so on and so on. So that's the type. Either you get the specific thing, or you get something that gives you the same feelings as the dream you had. When things are not going well, what's the number one advantage that you have? Well, you have a very big advantage when things are not going well. The number one advantage is you get to clarify specifically what you want and focus on exactly what you want, because now you know what you don't want. You have a clarification, unlike at any other time. You have very specific clarification of what you want and what you don't want, and it's that point where you can separate that so profound that your vibration is like a laser. This is why many people, who when they go through a major disappointment in life, they skyrocket. If you look at major successful people and look at their timeline, you see explosion, hell's breaking loose, and then they have this big win after it. It's just like that. So it's because you get to clarify. You really get to clarify. Your frequency is so pure, like, and you go after it, what you want. In every bad or negative situation, the most important thing you must first do is be thankful and grateful, and know that it's working out to your advantage. In every bad, negative situation, I don't care what it is, the most important thing you must first do before anything else, you have to be thankful and grateful and know that it's working to your advantage. I always know that everything's working to your advantage, no matter how negative it looks. Because it is. If you make it so, it's your thinking. If you're feeling bad, your objective is not to feel fantastic. Understand that too. What is your objective? To feel a little better and move up the emotional tone scale. When you're feeling bad, your objective shouldn't be to feel blissfully happy. That's very idiotic to do or to think. If you're on the verge of committing suicide, it's very idiotic for me to tell you, hey, get blissfully happy. Stop it and get blissfully happy. That's very stupid for me to say. The correct thing is just try to feel a little better. Don't try to feel bliss. Try to feel just a little better. Hey, if you're depressed and you're on the verge of committing suicide, if I ask you to feel a little better, maybe getting angry is the emotion for you at that moment. Angry is way better than depressed. And maybe from there you could get motivated. And then from motivated you could, maybe find a little bit of happiness. You see, it's just feel a little better. What most people do is they try to get to bliss. And they think that's where they need to be. If they're not there, then they're not happy. But it's not like that. Learn to control your emotions, and this is a good way to learn how to control them. Just feel a little better. You can predict the future because you are creating the future you want. You create the future. You can predict it because you create it. It's up to you what your creation will be. You are a creative being, and you're on the verge of creation. You're at every single moment in your life. You were meant to create. You were meant to create in this life. That is why people who don't create or are not in that mode and they want to feel content, what ends up happening is they get very sad and depressed. Or when they're creating and then they stop. And what do I mean by creating? I mean going after your dreams, after what you want. Moving up, becoming that better person, best out of you, right? Best person you can be, going after that goal. When people stop doing that, they get sad, they get depressed, so and so. So you can predict the future because you're creating the future. You're creating it. So however you feel, what your thoughts are, that's how your life will be. If you want lots of money, what's the first most important thing you must do? You must want money. Napoleon Hill talked about this. He said that you must want it. And when he says want it, he means like be obsessed over it. Like it's your goal, your chief aim. And, most people talk about balance, right? Talk about balance. And balance is a good thing. It's a good thing. And it's achieved at its most blissful states at higher levels. But at the beginning, sort of like your life is a little bit of unbalanced because you're trying to focus on something. So let's say somebody wants to focus on money. Well, then your focus has to be on making money more than other things. And that is why you see, for example, people on TV making huge amounts of money, but their health decreases, or their relationships with their family decreases, and so on and so on. By you taking this information and listening to it over and over again to the point that you're becoming this new improved person, this better you, and your DNA sort of changes to a successful one, then you will start, everything will just come into balance. And even if you have focus on something else, it's still okay. The other things will be in balance. But when you're not, it's like you focus on one thing and then the other things sort of start decreasing. So you have to put that into mind as well. So you must really be obsessed with your goal. if you really want to achieve it. And it's only for a period of time that you have to be obsessed with it, you know, to make your dream a reality. Never focus on what you don't want. You should always be focusing on what you do want. You know, most people think about what they don't want, and it's crazy. And this is how worrying comes, this is how negative thinking comes, and this is how their life becomes crappy. Just their negative thinking just makes them look at life very negative, and it's not a good way to live. Never focus on what you don't want. You should always be focusing on what you do want. When you have a negative thought, replace it with a positive thought. Don't try to eliminate the negative thought. Replace it with a positive thought. When it's dark, how do you eliminate darkness? You don't fight the darkness. All you have to do is turn the light on, and the darkness goes away. The same thing. Don't try to eliminate the negative thought. Replace it with a positive thought. That's the only way it can be defeated. And you know, a positive thought is 10,000 times stronger than a negative thought. So just imagine, just by putting a little bit of effort, you can really change your life. When focusing on your chief aim, a good way to describe the intensity of your focus is a magnificent obsession. When you're focusing on your chief aim, as I talked about, we all must have a chief aim. What is your chief aim? You must know it as good as your own name. A good way to describe the intensity of your focus in that chief aim is, a good word is magnificent obsession. Napoleon Hill describes chief aim and the intensity behind it with this word. He says you must have a magnificent obsession for your dream if you want it to become a reality. A magnificent obsession. When you decided you want money, the three key elements that would allow you to achieve your goal are, there are three key elements. The specific amount of money you want. You must be real specific on how much money you want to make. Doesn't mean you're gonna make it right now. What is that specific? If your chief aim is money, what is that specific amount? You have to be very specific. Remember, if you have a chief aim, you have to have the intensity behind it, and that intensity is described as a magnificent obsession. Napoleon Hill said this in the 1920s. You must have a specific amount of money you want. You must have a specific number. You just can't say 50,000, 100,000. No, you must have a specific number. That's how intense your chief aim must be. Your obsession with your chief aim must be if your chief aim is money. 2, exactly what will you do with that money? If you tell me your specific amount of money you want, and I wrote you a check, exactly what will you do with that money? You might tell me, well, I'm gonna put it in a bank. Okay, specifically tell me what you will do. Okay, I give you a check. Are you gonna go to the bank first? Are you gonna go to your family first? How much are you gonna put in for the savings? How much are you putting in for your checking? Are you saving some for retirement? Specific is the best way. Exactly what will you do with that money? Are you gonna pay off your car? Are you gonna pay off your debt? Or exactly what will you do with that money? What bank are you going to? Like, you have to be, is very crazy, but it's crazy because nobody sees the simplicity in all these concepts, and it's the simplicity that is the magic. It's the simplicity. So we talked about the specific amount of money, specific number, and exactly what will you do with that money. And 3, the feeling you will get when you have the money you desire. The feeling. What is the feeling you're going to get? Are you going to feel maybe your feelings are feelings of security? Maybe you want to feel secure with the money. Maybe you want to feel powerful, like you're somebody. Maybe you want to feel helpful, like you want to help people. What are the feelings that you will get when you have the money you desire? So the 3 key elements. When you have an emotional upset, you feel terrible, or you are under any stress, what is the fastest, most effective technique to eliminate those feelings? You're feeling negative. You have some negative emotions. You have some negative triggers, maybe from your past or whatever. The fastest and most effective technique that you can use to eliminate those feelings is thought field therapy, or the Callahan technique, the tapping technique. So I talked about Roger Callahan was a psychiatrist in Beverly Hills, and he discovered this technique with his patients, while having his patients, and it basically, to put it in very short terms, he found out that there's certain pressure points, acupuncture points, all around the body, and if you hit those points just by tapping on them, basically the negative feeling is an emotion blocking those, what they call them, channels or meridians. They're all over your body, and these certain points are connected to those channels. And the reason you're feeling bad is because one of those channels or several of those channels are blocked with a negative emotion. So to eliminate it, you just have to eliminate that pressure that's blocking that channel, and you do it by tapping those certain points, and sometimes in certain sequences. You can search his technique, the thought field therapy, the Callahan technique. Roger Callahan has passed away. He's already passed away, but I believe his wife still continues to do the work. There's also another guy by Gary Craig, who was an apprentice of Roger Callahan, who still does this technique and teaches it. So you could get his work, and it's very beneficial as well. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, either way you're right. It's the thinking that makes it so. That was a quote by Henry Ford. Henry Ford said that. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, either way you're right. It's the thinking that makes it so. What is more important, perseverance or intelligence? What is more important, perseverance or intelligence? Intelligence is good. You cannot be a dummy. You have to knowledge yourself. You have to have at least a basic knowledge of how the world works. But what's more important? Perseverance. Perseverance is more important than intelligence. Think about it. Think about the French Revolution. The French Revolution was won with sticks and rocks. If you could win a war with sticks and rocks against guns, that should just tell you right there. And throughout history, perseverance has always been the key. It has always been more important, and it's the real root of success is perseverance. And I have nothing against intelligence. I believe you do have to have at least a basic understanding or knowledge of some basic intelligence, but what's more important is perseverance. You could be clueless, but if you have the perseverance, you will succeed. History has proven that. The super rich are lucky because they create their own luck. They are lucky because they create their own luck. How do they create their own luck? By their thinking. Your thinking creates your reality. The same thing goes with rich people, with poor people, with medium, whatever, all kinds of people. You create your life. You create your own life. You create your own luck. You create your own luck. You create your own luck. Luck exists, but you create it. Yes, it exists, but you create it. Nobody else. It's not an entity out there that only picks certain people. No. It's real, but you have control over it. And they're crazy. Do the super rich take risk and gamble? Yes. The super rich take risk and gamble. If you look at biographies or autobiographies of all these super successful rich people throughout history, they've always taken a risk and they've always gambled. But here's the difference. When they take a risk and they gamble, they make sure, above anything else, that they are okay if they lose the gamble, if they lose the risk, if the risk goes against them. They're okay with the loss. Most people throw everything in there. And now they have two mixed vibrations thrown out into the universe or God. Now they have perseverance, motivation, success, and then they have fear. They have two. And they're counteracting each other. That's why they end up losing it, because the fear overtakes it. That's the whole point. Eliminate fear. Don't open the door for fear to come in. Taking risks is great. Taking gambles are great. That's how life has always been like that. You always crossing. If you want to be super successful, you're always crossing avenues that are unknown to you, and you don't know what's going to be the outcome. Well, you know, if you're a success, you know what's going to be the outcome. Success, but it doesn't. The events, what's in front of you, doesn't tell you what it's going to be. So it's okay to take risks. It's always okay to take gamble, but make sure that whatever you're risking, whatever you're gambling, you're okay with losing. If not, fear is going to come in and it's going to ruin your frequency, your vibration, your emotional state. You're going to lose sleep. You're not going to focus. You might as well have never done it at all. That's the difference between the super rich, super successful, and somebody who just throws it all away. In business, the super rich know what very intimately well. What do the super rich know very intimately well in business? They know the market in which they are involved in. Bill Gates, he's obsessed with computers. Steve Jobs was obsessed with his machines. Donald Trump is obsessed with buildings and construction and all that, whatever his business are. The Hiltons are obsessed with hotels. They're obsessed. They know their market very, very well. They know the ins and out. A great restaurateur, he knows the restaurant business in and out. That's why sometimes people get into business and they don't know the market really well, and they lose it. They lose it all because they think that they can do it, but they don't. That's why the best thing to do when you're starting a business and you don't know the market very well, at least to a comfortable state that you can be in, you maybe need to hire someone else for as an advisor or something. You just can't go in there, without ammo. The market, they know the market they're involved in. The super rich focus obsessively and work. Yes, it's true. Super rich, they focus obsessively. Hear that. They focus obsessively and work. Focus obsessively. Your chief aim. You must have a burning desire for its achievement. You must have a magnificent obsession. So the chief aim, the thinking part is right. And then it says they work. What does that mean? Very simple. They are working. They are working non-stop. While you're sleeping, they're working. While you're eating, they're working. While you're resting, they're working. While you're working, they're working. But to everybody else, it looks like work, but to them, guess what? They love it. They love every second of it. They love it. They can get enough of it. It doesn't feel like work, but to others it does. But to them, it doesn't. That's the difference. That's the difference. Bill Gates was interviewed by Larry King at one point. And they told him, hey, what's the secret to your success? You're super successful. Like, what is the secret? And he said there were 3 steps to success. And he said, 1, it was timing. He was at the right place at the right time. No. 2, he said, I had the vision. Others didn't see what the computer business could become. I saw what it could become. And third, I took massive and immediate action. A lot of people were there at the right time at the right place. They had depth of vision. They saw what this computer business could become, but they never took action. Immediate and massive action, he said. So remember that. Using depth of vision, if you were to look at an acorn, what would you see? Depth of vision, one of the 3 steps of Bill Gates' secrets to success. One of them is depth of vision. A good example of depth of vision is if you were to look at an acorn, what do you see? Most people would see a squirrel, right? A squirrel eating an acorn. No. That's not depth of vision. You failed the test. Another person says, well, I see a tree. I don't see an acorn, I see a tree. So that's better, but still not quite. Another person says, well, when I see an acorn, I see a forest. Not me. I see housing, buildings, anything that wood makes. That's depth of vision. You're seeing things, not what they are, but what they could become on a far, far level. The bottom line is, it's not really about the money. It's about the feeling the money gives you. Think about it. If you want a car, you don't want that car. You want the feeling that car is going to give you. If you want a relationship, you don't want a relationship. You want the feelings that relationship is going to give you. You don't want food. You want the feelings that food is going to give you. Think about it. Think about it. The same thing with money. You don't want money. You want the feelings that the money is going to give you. You can work and earn money, or you can have money, work and make money for you. There's 2 ways of making money in this world. You can work and earn money, which is nothing wrong with that, or you can have money, work and make money for you. It just depends on where you want to be. Those who work and earn money, they have the most funnest time, to be honest. Like think about it. They have the funnest time. Like they have the most action in their lives in making money. Those who have money and have money work for them, they don't have that much fun, but they have a lot of freedom. That they can do certain personal projects of their own, right? And there could be some fun in that too. I'm not gonna lie. So, live within your means is a myth. Understand that living within your means is a myth. The correct phrase here is live below your means. See, we all heard live within your means. Live within your means. That means if I get a $10,000 raise, I get to spend extra $10,000. No, you'll stay broke forever. Live below your means. Live below your means. Always. Secret principle right there. Debt is bad, but what is good? Credit. Debt is bad. It is bad. But credit is good. You can build a fortune with credit. You can build businesses with credit. Credit is good, but debt is always bad. So make sure you clear your debts, you pay them off. That's your goal. And building credit is good because you can build businesses. You don't have to. That's not the only way to make a fortune, but it's a way has been used for a long time. It's credit. You don't need money to make money. In other words, you could build credit and build your business. Debt can be defined as money borrowed against depreciating assets. That's what debt is. If you don't know what debt is, if you're purchasing something and you say, well, I just heard in the Ulosophy video that that is bad, I must clear my debt. So I have to, next time I make a major purchase, I have to see whether it's debt or is not debt. It's appreciating asset. Debt is anything that is money borrowed against a depreciating asset. A car, a vehicle is a depreciating asset, which means that you borrowed money But as soon as it leaves the lot, it's an asset that starts depreciating itself with time. You see? Food, right? Food is a depreciating asset. You know, a washing machine is a depreciating asset. A computer is a depreciating asset. Anything that doesn't rise in value is a depreciating asset. Nobody's perfect at this. The whole point about this is that the less you can have, the less you could do with this is the better. That's the whole point. That's the bottom line, the whole point. A house is an asset. That's an appreciating asset. A house is an appreciating asset. Gold is an appreciating asset. Although the markets fluctuate, but still, it can be a very appreciating asset. You know, metals, valuables, antiques are appreciating assets. If you look at these documentaries of super rich people, you don't see Xboxes in their homes. You don't see all these high-tech TVs all over their homes. But you see Picasso paintings, appreciating asset. You see antiques, certain, vases or tables or whatever. You see a lot of that because they really know the difference. And that is something we must master. So we define debt. Now let's define credit. What is credit? It's using other people's money to make money or buying appreciating assets. Now, using credit to buy an appreciating asset, that's a very smart move. If you're using credit to buy an antique that last year, from last year to this year, it moved up $20. I mean, $50, whatever. It's good. Credit can be very useful for that. If you're using credit to buy a McDonald's or a restaurant that is 90% chance you're going to succeed, that's buying an appreciating asset. To build a business, building something that you can raise the value of it is very wise to buy appreciating asset. A house, you use credit to buy a house. Well, there's an opportunity to raise the value of the house. So that's a very smart move to use credit toward businesses and appreciating assets. It's very smart. That's how credit can be defined correctly. Energy around money always flows easier when you are out of debt, you're debt-free, or in the process of reducing your debt. When you're out of debt, you're debt-free, or you're in the process of reducing your debt, like you're seeing momentum happening and you're reducing of debt, the energy around money sort of frees itself, and it's sort of like, there's even a biblical scripture about this. Jesus said a great parable where I believe it was 3 individuals who were given the same amount of valuables, and then the master came back years later to see what they did with those valuables. One person built triple the value, a person built double the value, and the third person built no value, but he says, I just buried it. I buried the valuable you gave me. I saved it, in other words. Well, the master of God blessed the one who tripled his amount to triple that. And he doubled the second one, the one who doubled it. But the one who saved it, who buried it, he took it away. He took his valuable away. The one that buried it, the one that says, I'm going to secure it here, I'm not going to spend it, I'm going to leave it here, God took that away from him. And Jesus said, the one who has will be given more. The one who has will be given more. And it's a universal principle. That's why it's talked about in almost every religion text. When you're out of debt, you're debt-free, and you're in the process of reducing your debt, the way you feel, It's incredible. You have a freedom that you didn't have before. And the energy around money is going to be easier for you to attain. You're going to see more opportunity in your life. A penny saved is a penny earned. A penny saved is a penny earned. Yes, we talk about using the money, getting out of debt, building businesses, or buying appreciating assets with credit. It's very good. But a principle that's as important as this is saving. The process of saving. A penny saved is a penny earned. And that's something we must teach our kids. I have nothing against the school system, but I do believe that our kids should be taught about money and how to use money and what money's about and how to save it. And not just spending. Because we get enough on how to spend just by turning on the TV. Our kids they have that mastery. What about saving? I believe our school system's responsibility is to teach the kids teach them around the subject very profoundly of money, because it's something that we deal with every day. Once we leave school, and either we're going to college or get a job or whatever, one of those principles must be money. A penny saved is a penny earned. Always remember that. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like or comment on the video. See you guys next time.